One snowy morning, the March sisters gathered by the fireplace. Their home was simple, yet it buzzed with laughter and overflowed with love. Outside, the world was a blanket of white, but inside, warmth radiated not just from the crackling flames, but from the hearts of the four girls. At a small table nearby, Jo sat with ink staining her fingers, a crumpled page discarded beside her. A dramatic sigh escaped her lips. "I'll never write the perfect story," she groaned, slumping over her desk in frustration. "The words are all jumbled, and the characters won't do as they're told." Beth, ever the quiet observer, looked up from the soft clinking of her knitting needles. A gentle smile touched her lips. "Maybe it doesn't have to be perfect, Jo," she said, her voice as soft as the yarn she was working with. "Maybe it just needs to be yours. Your story, with your words, from your heart." Jo paused, letting Beth's simple wisdom sink in. She looked at the failed attempt on the floor, then at the clean waiting page before her. It didn't need to be a masterpiece for the whole world. It just needed to be true. She smoothed out a fresh sheet of paper, dipped her pen in the inkwell, and began again. This time, she didn't try to force the words. She wrote about what she knew, what she felt, what mattered to her. She wrote from her heart. Across the room, Meg, the eldest, stood by the window. Her gaze was fixed on a beautiful blue dress shimmering in a shop across the street. The silk seemed to catch the winter light, and she could almost feel its softness. For weeks, she had saved every spare coin, tucking them away carefully, dreaming of the day she could wear something so fine, something that would make her feel elegant and grown up. But then, their mother Marmee came in, her expression thoughtful. She spoke of a nearby family, the Hummels, who had no warm blankets for the bitter winter. Her words painted a picture of children shivering in a cold, bare room. Meg glanced back at the sparkling blue dress, then at her small collection of coins. Her dream of elegance warred with the image of a family in need. Slowly, quietly, she walked to the table and placed her coin purse upon it. "We can buy blankets instead," she said softly, her voice steady despite the pang of sacrifice. A different kind of warmth bloomed in her chest, a warmth that had nothing to do with a fireplace or a fancy dress. That very afternoon, the four sisters bundled up in their warmest coats and scarves. They carried a stack of thick, new blankets to the Hummels' small, cold home. When they arrived, the children's faces lit up. They wrapped themselves in the soft wool, their grateful smiles a reward far more precious than any compliment on a new dress. On their way home, rosy-cheeked from the cold, they passed the shop window again. The blue dress still hung there, just as beautiful as before. But as Meg looked at it, her heart felt brighter, fuller. She had discovered a joy that couldn't be bought, a richness that came from giving. Back at home, the youngest sister, Amy, was wrestling with her own challenge. She sat by the window, a canvas propped before her, trying to capture the winter twilight. But her first attempt had smudged badly, the colors muddy and disappointing. Frustration welled up, and she felt the familiar sting of wanting to give up, to toss the canvas aside, just as Jo had tossed her story. If they could keep going, so could she. Taking a deep, steadying breath, Amy picked up her brush again. This time, she worked slowly, patiently, carefully blending the colors, paying attention to the way the last light of day kissed the snow. Little by little, a beautiful scene began to emerge. By sunset, her painting was no longer a mess of smudges, but a landscape that glowed with soft golden light. Meanwhile, Beth sat at their old, well-loved piano. Her fingers drifted over the keys, but she wasn't just playing for herself. She noticed their elderly neighbor, Mr. Lawrence's grandfather, watching from his window, his expression lonely. He was often alone in that grand, quiet house. So Beth began to play a cheerful, lively tune. The music wasn't perfect or grand, but it was full of spirit. It drifted through the cold air, a little gift of sound and cheerfulness. The neighbor looked up, a slow smile spreading across his face, and he raised a hand in a friendly wave. Beth smiled back, her heart light. She had reached out with her music and touched another's solitude. That evening, as the fire crackled and the shadows danced, the sisters gathered together once more. The little house felt like a haven, filled with a quiet sense of accomplishment. Jo had finished her story, a tale filled with the realness and heart she'd been searching for. Meg had found a deeper happiness in sharing her savings. Amy had completed her painting, a testament to her newfound patience, and Beth had used her music to brighten a lonely day for someone else. Mommy looked at her daughters, her face glowing with pride in the firelight. "My little women," she said warmly, her voice full of love. "You are growing kinder and braver each day. You are learning the most important lessons of all." The sisters leaned together, their arms linked. They felt rich, but not with money or fancy dresses or worldly praise. They were rich in love, in patience, in generosity, and in the unbreakable bond of family. And as the snow fell softly outside, blanketing the world in a quiet peace, they understood something profound. True happiness isn't found in what we have or what we own. It's found in what we share, in the kindness we give, and in the love we build together. That was their winter lesson, a truth that would warm them for all the seasons to come. Thank you so much for watching. We hope this story brought a little warmth to your day. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like and subscribe for more heartwarming tales. See you next time.